Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. The last time that we met, we were talking about the financial system landscape, and in the financial system landscape, we considered the three key components, that one should look at when you're looking at the Nigerian financial system landscape. The first that we talked about was the regulators and government agencies. The second are the operators in the financial system. The third that we mentioned are the supporters of the financial system. So today we are going to take a look at the financial system and the regulators as well as the government agencies. So we are taking the regulators and government agencies to see what are the roles of the regulators and government agencies in the Nigerian financial system. Let's go. The first regulator that we are taking a look at is the Central Bank of Nigeria, which otherwise we call for short the CBN. In the financial system or in the financial market, the CBN regulates the activities of players or operators in the FX market and the money market. When we say FX market, we are talking about the currency market where players buy and sell currencies. In this case, we are talking about the market where players sell naira to buy the US dollars, for instance, or they sell naira to buy the euro, or they sell naira to buy the pound sterling or any other currency that is tradable in the market. There are a lot that we are going to talk about in the foreign currency market in the upcoming series of our lectures, but for now what we should bear in mind is the CBN regulates the activities of players in the currency market. If we take a look at the financial market, the CBN also plays the role of a regulator in that market. What they do is to regulate the issuance of what is called treasury bills. We will talk much about it later, as well as the activities of players in the money market, talking about the issuance of treasury bills, talking also about NIBOR rates, as well as placement among banks and other financial institutions. All those activities are activities that are regarded as money market activities in the Nigerian financial market. The second regulator we'll talk about briefly that will be useful as a foundation of our future lectures is the Securities and Exchange Commission, which we call the SEC. The SEC regulates the activities of capital market operators, operators in the bond market or operators in the equities market. So the regulator of that market is the Securities and Exchange Commission. There is no way that you will play in the financial system or in the financial market that you would not have anything to do with SEC. As a player in the market, you would have to be registered by SEC. Your activities are regulated by SEC. Let's take a look at another regulator that we'll probably talk about at some point. It is the Pension Commission of Nigeria, which is PENCOM. So PENCOM regulates the activities of players in the pension industry. So we're talking about the pension fund administrators. Those are the managers of your pension and my pension, as well as pension money in Nigeria, generally speaking. We also talk about pension fund custodians. Those are the banks that keep the custody of the contributions of pension of people that are contributing pension, as well as retirees. So we have the pension fund administrators on the one hand, we have the pension fund custodians on the other hand. So the pension that they deduct from your salary every month the money does not go directly to the pension fund administrator. Rather, it sits with the pension fund custodian, and then it is from the custody account that the pension fund administrators manage your money. So the regulator of that industry is the Pension Commission of Nigeria, which we call PENCOM. Another regulator that is worth mentioning is the National Insurance Commission, which we call NAICOM, and NAICOM regulates the activities of players in the insurance industry. We are talking about either primary insurers, which we call the regular insurance companies that underwrite life and non-life risks, as well as secondary insurers, which are reinsurance companies that also stand as insurers for the insurers. So we talk about them as being reinsurance companies because they underwrite the risks that have already been underwritten by insurance companies. We also have in that industry loss adjusters. We also have a lot of other players such as the insurance brokers. So it is NAICOM, which is the National Insurance Commission, that regulates the activities of the insurance industry as a whole. And when we are talking about all this as the background to the financial market, is all these players we've talked about play key roles in the financial market. How they play in the financial market will be a lot clearer the moment we get to that section of our lecture series. So let's go to the government agencies. The government agencies that we will talk about, the first of them is the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning. As we speak in Nigeria today, that is the structure that we have, that the entire ministry is sitting in under one minister. This is June 2020, and so previously we have had the Federal Ministry of Finance on a standalone basis, and then the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning also on a standalone basis, making two different or separate ministries. But as we speak today, we have the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning combined as one ministry. So what is the role of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning? One key major role is that they come up with the budget of the of Nigeria, of the country, and then so in the budget, working with the president, of course, but in coming up with the budget, there is one key element of the budget that we call the revenue. So that revenue is an indication of what the government plans to generate in revenue to run the fiscal year. There is another element of the budget that is called the expenditure, which is what the government plans to spend in the financial year to lift the country upward, to fix infrastructure, and also take care of the entire country as a whole. Then there is this third element that is either called surplus if it is positive, or called deficit if it is negative, and that is basically the revenue minus the expenditure. When it is negative, it is called the deficit of the budget, and usually in Nigeria we always have budget deficit. So there are questions that arise around how do we finance the deficit in the budget. The deficit in the budget, in financing it, the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning comes up with plans around financing the deficit in the budget via the financial market, or via what we can just simply call the capital market, by considering the bond market either locally, or considering the bond market internationally, which in many cases we call the Eurobond market. We will talk much about what is called the bond market, how the bond market operates, how the government is able to tap into the bond market to finance the budget deficit, either the bond market that is the local market, or the Eurobond market that has to do with international investors. We will talk much about all this in our upcoming series. But the summary of the regulator we are talking about here is that the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is a government agency, and they are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the budget deficit is financed. They look for sources in financing the deficit. The deficit could as well be financed through other borrowings that are not necessarily related with the capital market. But what we are taking a look at is how they support the government as an agency by playing in the capital market. The third government agency we would consider is the Debt Management Office, which we call the DMO. The DMO regulates the activities of the government in the bond market. So they advise the government around the level of borrowing that the country should be exposed to, and come up with calendar that indicates the monthly borrowing plan of the government. So for instance, there is this calendar that we call the monthly bond issuance calendar. That calendar is issued by the DMO. So the DMO issues that calendar to show the investing public the amount of bond that they are issuing for the month, basically showing the tenor of the bond, showing the size of the bond, and also when they get to the subscription level, which is where they come to the markets to issue the bond, then they also dictate what the coupon that that bond will attract, as well as the yield. But that will, largely speaking, be driven by market forces, speaking about the subscription level of the investors in the market in terms of what they are bidding on the yield side, and also what they are bidding on the naira value side, to talk about how much they are demanding. So all these are the key players in the market when we talk about the financial market regulators and the government agencies that play in the financial market. In summary, we have talked about the financial market regulators. We have described the roles that the CBN plays in that market, as well as the government agencies, as well as the SEC, and then we have talked about NAICOM and PENCOM in the industry. Thank you for joining me today. Please, let's catch up the next time. Thank you for joining me. God bless you. Bye for now.